What's up, Dodger fans? Dodgers narrowly avoiding the sweep in Arizona with a 6-2 win behind the strong pitching from Brandon McCarthy. I think the Dodgers are happy to get out of this one as the Diamondbacks feasted on them this week. We're going to talk about that and so much more right here on Dodgers Wrap 360.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
It was all good just a week ago. Funny what? 7 days from
It was all good just a week ago, as the great American philosopher Sean Carter said.
That's correct.
Not a great week in Dodger baseball. But before we get that, I just want to introduce my co-host over here, Mr. Cameron Cohen, Josh Gershon. Thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks for everyone tuning in wherever you may be. Anyone wants to give us a shout or reach out on social media, where can the guys reach you?
Well, today I'm going to shout out my dog here. So, at Bob Vishla. Best dog account on Instagram.
And you can reach me at Gersh13.
Gersh, on Twitter or Instagram?
Twitter and Instagram.
Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah.
So are you a tweeter? Are you...
My Twitter is...
If I were to go on your profile, would I be seeing just like a list of tweets going on?
You see a lot of political retweets.
Oh, okay.
Some of my own commentary on such things, but
That's why I steer clear.
Not a Twitterer?
No, it's better that I just shut up.
Okay.
Show some pictures, make some videos.
yeah, and I'll do pictures. That's
Well, you guys can reach me on Twitter or Instagram. Twitter, Hunter_Marks, or Instagram on Huntsman. I don't tweet a lot, but I am pretty active on Instagram, so you can find me there. So, Dodgers with a nice 6-2 win behind 7 strong innings from Brandon McCarthy.
7 innings, by the way. That's the longest he's gone in...
2-3 years?
Yeah, no, really.
We hasn't really pitched in 2 years.
Really?
No, I think it's 4. I think it's the longest he's gone in 4 years.
I mean, he's looking like the best pitcher on this roster, not named Clayton Kershaw.
Well, he is.
Which says a lot about the current state of Dodger pitching.
Yes.
We brought him in to be a 5-starter at best.
Well, we're gonna get to Friday and Saturday night's debacles.
Yeah.
But we're gonna start with some good things. We're gonna start the show on a positive note. Dodgers with a 6-2 win. Gave him an early 2-run homer in the first inning. Goldschmidt will do that too. The guy's just a power hitter.
Well, the guy just crushes the Dodgers in general.
Yeah, he seems to really have their number.
It's the best baseball name in the league.
Paul Goldschmidt?
Yes.
Yeah, well, shout out to Paul Goldschmidt. He's an excellent first baseman, too. But runs came a little later towards the game with the explosion in the 5th inning there for 6 runs. So Dodgers looking like that's all they needed, which is nice considering they gave up 20 runs 2 previous games before.
It's their after 420 slump.
You think so?
Yeah, I believe so.
They're going to celebrate a little too much there? Well,
the CBA doesn't want them to drink and drive, but they're okay with the rest of that stuff.
Actually, baseball does not test.
Yeah,
marijuana.
no,
Yeah.
40-man roster doesn't test.
Yeah.
So if you're in the minors and you're not on the 40-man roster, you're screwed. But if you're in AAA and they bring you up back and forth,
Yeah.
why is
You're the guy
that?
on the
What
team
is
they wanna hang out
that?
with.
There's got to be some rationale behind that, one that I cannot think
Well,
of.
baseball, I just don't think baseball thinks it's an issue, whereas for some reason football and basketball do. But, I mean, in actuality, it's probably a lot better for you than all the painkillers they jack you up with anyway.
Right.
So, but that's a different
Different discussion for a different day.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to take us to there. So today's game?
So, yeah, Adrian Gonzalez, 2 doubles, looking good there. Nice bats rolling a little bit. What do we think about the late start, though? Any concern there? Dodgers are kind of looking sluggish, like this whole Arizona series. Like, they weren't looking...
They've looked sluggish this whole season so far, I think.
Yeah.
Seager's looked good the last couple games. He's been coming around. I think he's up to 325. Puig's in a slump again.
He fell off a cliff. 3 for 24 this week. Batting a robust 125 in the past 7 days. So, yeah. Like we said last week, remember?
Yeah.
I was staring at my wrist the whole time, wondering when this was going to happen.
And it took
immediately.
It took 2 days.
This is Yasiel, though. You're going to see these hot and cold periods.
Yeah.
Like, this is just who he is.
Well, I think that's why you keep hearing the Ryan Braun talks circulating. I mean, they keep saying no, yet Bill Shake and everyone's reporting that they are talking about a potential trade for Ryan Braun.
Right.
Do we need the bat, though? That's the question. I mean, at this point,
I'd rather have the arm.
I'd rather have an arm. I'd rather have the arm entirely, you know?
So, McCarthy did well. Baez came in. Pedro Baez came in to pitch well. No run score, gave up a hit.
I never thought I'd say this. P.D. Baez, the best arm in our bullpen currently at this particular moment.
At this very moment?
At this very moment.
And certainly not Sergio Romo, who had some struggles this weekend.
He wears a Giants shirt under his jersey. I'm convinced of it. So.
But he's got a Dodger heart. He grew up in L.A. Dodgers are his first team.
I was never a fan of that signing. because he wasn't very good for the Giants the last couple seasons.
Right.
And you saw why. He doesn't have a fastball. So he's
just slinging frisbees out there.
Yeah, so if his pitch isn't moving, he's done. It's just sitting there waiting for people to tee off on it, which we saw.
Right.
You know, what was that, Saturday or Friday night? Friday night.
Friday
right?
night.
he had like 5 runs that inning.
Friday and Saturday both got hit.
Yeah, he got and that was Stripling, first time he's pitched back to back, and he got shelled a little
That
bit.
was to be expected, though. He's been pitching so well, Ross Stripling. You're expecting a little dip at some point here. I'm not too worried about him. But starting rotation, who's on the DL right now as far as pitching? Scott Kazmir's still on DL.
Yeah, we got Scott Kazmir. We got
God.
the starting pitching.
Rich Hill.
Rich Hill.
Him and the never-ending blister.
Yeah.
Although he threw a wire bullpen session today, so that's positive that he'll be back soon. You still want I think the thing with that blister is you don't want to keep re-aggravating it. It just seems to be like I might talk about. There's some sort of like magic cream we can give him.
Well, Ryan, Nolan,
Put it like in
I
a
said
cast.
I said it last week. Nolan Ryan used to, with a surgeon scalpel, like basically cut off his fingerprint, and it prevented him from getting blisters. And he was doing it. In the
I still
80s.
think he was doing
said
things
it.
illegal. There's some things he just doesn't want the apparatus to find out one day.
Hey, you know what? If that works, I say Rich Hill, learn how to do it. Go to Nolan Ryan and say, "How did you do this?" and let him show you. But it's we got them on the DL. We have Maeda, who he might as well be on the DL. The guy's so MIA right
Dodgers
now.
had a rough Saturday night. They had a rough Friday night too. Saturday night they lose 11-5. Kenta Maeda. He has over an 8 ERA right now. Give up 9 hits. 4 of those hits were home runs.
Let's start with how that all started. Didn't they come back, and the game was almost in our hands at that point? We had
And then they blew
we
it
were
that
up
one.
5-4, and then they gave up 8 runs in the 8th inning, if I'm not mistaken. And it just wouldn't stop pouring on.
It was a bullpen implosion. They've been so reliable 19 games of the year.
They gave up more runs in that inning than they've given up to date.
Yeah.
So, safe to say it's probably going to be their worst game of the season going forward. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Combined.
I'm a little concerned though because in the first week of Dodger baseball, they had those 2 back-to-back games where they gave up 10 runs and like 13 runs, and now they're giving up another 10 runs. Like these double-digit losses are like there's kind of piling up for like so early in the year.
Yeah.
We're now 4 games behind the pennant race.
Yeah.
We're a game under 500. Like this is not the team that was touted as the World Series favorites coming into the season by Sports Illustrated and other reputed outlets.
And I also think we underestimated what new life in the managerial role for the Diamondbacks and for the Colorado Rockies.
Mike, who is not here with us this week, both of us said
Bud Black.
But we love Bud Black. Bud Black was my choice for the Dodgers before they hired Dave Roberts.
I would have agreed with you on that for sure.
I like Roberts, but Bud Black was my first choice. And Mike and I both said that the Diamondbacks and the Rockies are going to be teams to watch out for. Because none of us, I thought that the Giants would be too great this year. And with Bumgarner hurt, they're really going to be struggling now. But
do you know that?
I can't help but laugh.
Not taking it too far off. Do you know who that reminded me of? The old Jeff Kent industry,
Yes.
washing the car.
yeah.
I immediately thought about that. Although Bumgarner did not try to do a cover up with that.
Quick question, because I got to imagine it's in their contract. Should he be riding a dirt bike in the middle of the season?
That begs the question. I
mean,
don't know.
I think contract stipulations are like that are explicit in other leagues because a lot of people do like to ride motorcycles. I think for Bumgarner, they probably have like a tractor clause in his contract, not necessarily the dirt bike clause. So, yeah.
But it's not just, we have Maeda. Our starting pitching, Brandon McCarthy is legitimately, actually, I think his ERA is lower than Kershaw's right now. I think
He's at 2.25, I think.
Yeah, that's, guy 3-0. He and Kershaw are 1-2 right now.
He's really kind of filling in on that left Greinke spot last year. Wish we could have had him last year for this, but
I don't think this is sustainable over the long haul. And I think we're really hoping, if you're looking at the 4 players the 4 other starters that we're expecting to do something at some point, Wood, so far, he throws well out of the bullpen, not necessarily in the starter role. We're looking at Rich Hill, who has a blister issue that seemingly won't go away. We're looking at
Ryu is a shell of himself.
Exactly.
0-3 to start. Still looking for that first win of the year.
He signs of life from him last start. It wasn't a great start, but still progressively.
4-3 loss isn't like a terrible thing. Yeah, I agree.
I liked his athleticism on that one play. That was it's pretty impressive.
He moves well for a guy that size. He can swing that stick.
Yeah. So we're just expecting to see more out of these guys, and then hopefully sooner rather than later. There's never been a time where I think we need to call up our phenom from the farm as we do right now, and they've been talking about bringing him up in San Francisco. So Urias in San Francisco could be sort of the catalyst for something.
Well, we're losing a lot of left-handed arms at the moment too.
Yeah.
So like that's another thing.
Yeah,
Like,
Grant Dayton's on the DL now. You know, that hurts because he's a big arm out of the
Hill,
bullpen.
Dayton. Yeah, these guys are just Casimir. It's like they're piling up. This is again like last year. The injuries are just piling up now all of a sudden.
Yeah, and you know they are talking about bringing up Urias because they're talking about skipping Maeda's next start to fix some mechanics. Right now, his home run rate is 22%. I mean, all the hits off him, 22% of them are home runs. So he's
Not a number you want to be seeing from your number 2 guy.
No, and he's not getting ground ball outs. He's getting a lot of fly ball outs. So something is definitely wrong. And we saw it at the end of last year.
We did. He would tire quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's definitely something wrong with him right now.
I think it's still between the ears as well. You know, I think
You think he's
might be.
he has that after playoff.
You think
thing.
he's rattled a little bit?
Yeah, I think there's maybe a crisis of confidence. He's is still he faded down the stretch last year. The playoffs came where it's high pressure situations, and now
It was also his first year in the majors, though.
But I mean, he started off well enough.
Yeah.
You know,
Ryu was great his first year in the majors in the playoffs.
The Dodgers historically have a great track record for international imports in their first year pitching for the Dodgers. I mean, you go as far back as Kaz Ishii, Hiroki
Nomo.
Kuroda.
Go back to Nomo, yeah.
Exactly. All these people were fantastic their first year,
Right.
and some of them, to varying degrees, were better, were good, the following years.
Kuroda went on to have a good couple years with the Yankees afterwards.
Yeah.
I would say that he was probably the besides Nomo at the beginning, the best international Japanese / Korean or Taiwanese.
Chen-Ho Park had quite a career with the Dodgers for a while.
Excuse me, I totally forgot about that. But yes, Chen-Ho as well. But yeah, their track record with bringing those guys over in their first year is really good, and then it seems to sort of taper off a little bit.
Well,
But this is not tapering off a little bit. This is running off a cliff. I mean, this is Maeda's just been terrible. And
I touched upon it last week. Could it be that he's now had a full go around with facing the major leagues and just the book's written on him now? Like, guys, no, it's obvious now. You get to him early. That is the number one thing of how to get to Kenta. You want to swing early. Anytime you see a fastball, go after it.
Yeah.
he's not fooling anybody. I mean, guys are not swinging and missing. That's the problem. He's just not fooling anyone. And I don't know how you fix that.
He needs to. Yeah, they need to.
Well, I think Cameron's
for sure.
I think Cameron's right that it's between the ears because he's shown that he can play in the major leagues.
Yeah.
He's shown he can face major
He
league
had
pitching
15,
and get
15 wins last year.
And the thing is, it wasn't just after the first time around for most of the clubs they play most frequently, all the NL West opponents. He was good all the way up until the August-September months.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's no reason to believe that they have just figured him out and have a book written on him. It's more, I think, that he's just sort of probably having a crisis of
I
confidence.
mean, this is also an NL West team, so they see him quite a bit.
No, and that was it started last year. His decline started when he had to face the NL West in August and September. That was when that decline started. And now that we're facing the NL West again right away,
Right.
it seems to have continued. So right now it seems to be more of an NL West problem for him. So, it's going to be tough to see what they can do to try to fix him. But yeah, there is. Right now, it's just the possibility they're talking about skipping his next start and hoping to work on some mechanics, which is why Urias is going to come up. So we'll see. We'll see if he gets his start, and we'll see how many innings he goes. Because right now the bullpen looks taxed.
There could not be a better time playing the last play of San Francisco Giants than right now. The Diamondbacks are a good young. Their problem last year was pitching.
Yeah.
They were really lacking that pitcher. And Shelby Mitchell actually, before he got hurt today, he threw 4 shutout innings against Dodgers. Looked pretty good. Not Shelby Miller of last year. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Rockies and Diamondbacks really start to shake up at the top of the West. Now that we know they came to play.
Oh yeah, and Bud Black's going to have him ready. I mean, those Padre teams that he was unfortunately managing, were not good.
I mean, it's arguably the worst ownership in baseball.
Yeah, but he made those teams
That's
competitive.
the former Dodger ownership.
Don't forget Mr. Miami over there.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeff Loria?
Yeah,
That's a big miss.
I mean, at least
you're
the
right, though.
Marlins
You're
put
right,
out
though.
talent.
You're
They
right,
they did give out.
but they get
Mike Stanton. They gave $300 million contract to.
I don't disagree with you at all.
No, but it's with him though. It's now that they're he got this, they were nice and good. They got a brand new stadium, and then he fire sells the team again.
I mean,
Right.
we could talk all the crap we want about the NLS teams. All of those teams have been to a World Series since the last time the Dodgers have been to a World Series.
No, the Padres made it in the 90s.
90. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Since
Oh,
the last time the
excuse me.
Dodgers.
Oh,
So
yeah,
like,
sorry.
yeah.
They have. That
So
is
we-
true.
You know.
In fact,
Yeah.
the Diamondbacks have won one.
Yeah.
The Giants have won 3.
Yeah. And the Rockies and Padres both been
Yeah.
there. So. It's time to put up or shut up.
Can you believe we're coming on 30 years of our last Dodger World Series appearance?
Yeah, I can actually. I can. Yeah, I've watched every one of those years very closely.
I know we seem to have gotten the end of the stick after the post 80s run, Dodgers run there.
Well, we had that bad run, when Fox bought the team. I actually, Dan Evans is one of my favorite GMs because that poor guy was hamstringed.
You love Dan Evans.
He was hamstringed so bad by Fox and still managed to at least put some decent deals together. One bad deal he made was Darren Dreifert.
Kevin Brown? No,
That was
Kevin Malone.
Yeah, that was Malone. The one bad deal he made was Dreifert. But remember, Dreifert looked good the year he gave him that contract, and then Dreifert fell off the cliff.
Never to be seen again.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's just rough. Like there seems to be no fire in the Dodgers either. There's no passion.
They're missing this. Yeah, I think
You guys, I think we're reading too much into this. It's still April.
Yeah,
It's still
it is.
April. And I think, look, historically, Dodger teams that play bad at the beginning of the season sort of pick it up towards the end. I mean, we've seen that in the last couple of years, especially when Kershaw was injured. They weren't doing so well in the beginning, and they picked it up later on. So I feel like there's room to grow here. And
absolutely.
They're definitely not stressing right now. I mean,
they should be about the pitching.
we're
They
not in
should
20
be
games.
about the starting pitching,
Yeah.
and they should absolutely be stressing about that.
we're not even 20 games.
Yeah,
into
but
the season.
do you really want to give up one of your? I mean, granted, Cotton's been up and down this season. Jarrell Cotton.
No, I want to
Yeah.
bring up Urias and see how that pans.
So it'll be interesting to see because
It's not time to trip out until June
Yeah.
because that affects all of the contracts for our minor leaguers
Yeah.
that we might potentially bring up, who we want to get rid of, who we want to bring in. So
Well,
there's still,
I mean, Alex
early.
Wood got the loss on Friday, but he actually had been pitching pretty well up until then. He gave the Dodgers lost 13-5.
but he didn't give up all the runs.
Right, he did, but he did not. But that was the game that Romo got knocked for 5.
Yeah, and Stripling got knocked for 3,
Two.
2. Yeah, and then who else? Someone else got knocked for. Oh, Hatcher. I think it was
Oh
Hatcher.
yeah, Hatcher. So who actually was? I mean,
No,
up until
Hatcher-
this week.
Hatcher's not good.
Up until this week, he had been doing just fine for his 3 innings pitched.
But the Dodgers pitching staff, starting pitching staff, it's a real problem right now.
Oh yeah,
You know,
we knew it would be going into the season
Yeah.
though. We knew it would be.
So it's
Scott Kazmir is another year older after an off year.
I literally don't think we're going to get anything out of him, period, for the course of his contract.
We may
I don't
not.
think so. The guy washed out of baseball a couple years ago.
Yeah,
sort of in the same way Rich Hill did, but Rich Hill was, I feel like, is a different type of pitcher and was able to come back
He
from that.
reinvented himself, but did he? I feel like did he really reinvent himself, or are we just now noticing Rich Hill because he's
No,
winning?
he reinvented himself because, like I said,
he have a power
he's
arm,
a
though?
2-pitch pitcher right now. It's
Right.
just that he throws that.
The side angles.
Yeah, he throws at so many different angles, and he throws. That's why he gets the blister because he throws at such that high spin rate.
Right.
That's why he keeps getting the blister. But that's just he did reinvent himself. Kazmir was really good, washed out, came back super strong, and he got this contract, and he was.
Now he sucks. Sounds like the Dodgers. Sounds like a typical Dodger pickup.
He was okay last year. The trouble is he'd have one good start, one bad start, 2 good starts, 1 bad start. Like he just kept throwing in that bad start almost every other start. So but at least we got something out of him last year. I agree with Cameron. I don't think he's going to be up this year. I think he's going to be a no-show this whole season.
This is the shades of Jason Schmidt here. So
Are we still paying him? We're at him.
No, to be fair, Kazmir has already pitched more games than Jason Schmidt. Jason Schmidt, 6
News
games.
to me.
Yeah, 6 games. 3 years, he pitched 6 games. I remember this because I hated that contract so bad when they gave it to him.
I want to give a shout out to anyone there on the YouTube channel. I know last week we had a couple people asking us questions. We didn't quite get to them all. Sorry about that, but we're actually going to make a conceited effort to talk to you. Cameron's monitoring the chat. If anyone wants to say anything, we're on live. I just want to make sure we are covering that for everyone out there. So, go ahead.
Oh, we need to talk about Kershaw and Tyler Anderson.
Interesting thing happened Wednesday night. Dodgers facing the Colorado Rockies. Curtin Clayshaw gets the 4-2 win. Look good. 7 innings, 5 hits, 10 Ks, season high 10 Ks. I mean, the guy's on a roll right now.
But that first
all we
inning,
got.
he
So-
struggles because Tyler Anderson decides to take his sweet time to walk from the bullpen to the dugout.
So just to give
Do
a little,
not awake a sleeping giant like that.
give a little recap. Clayton Kershaw wasn't happy. Tyler Anderson starting left-handed pitcher for Colorado Rockies, facing Clayton that night. Wanted to do a little extra bullpen stash before the game started. I guess a little loose, didn't quite get all the. Just want to get looser, and there's usually a 7:10 prompt game time, and he decided to exit the bullpen at 7:10, long after infield was taken, and Clayton was on the mound, and like you have to wait for this guy, and pitchers are creatures of habit, and they don't like their routines to be upset, especially when their name is Clayton Kershaw,
Especially him,
who
yeah.
becomes a
Yeah.
fiery devil.
And called it one of the most disrespectful things he's seen in baseball.
He had to cut off. I think he had to cut off his post game interview.
He was-
He got stories like, "That's all I can say here."
Hey, I want to talk about that post game
love
interview.
it.
Actually, he was angry.
Yeah.
It was like playoff Kershaw, which I love seeing in April. Yeah. That's just who he is. He was just upset.
He's just intense in general.
Yeah,
like
he's
when
an
he
intense
pitches.
guy. He's an
You know,
intense
he
guy.
reminds me, in that way, he reminds me of someone like Kobe Bryant, who that's just who they are. They're just, when it comes to competition, they're just that intense. They're just always that intense.
Yeah.
You know, they don't like people screwing around. This is, and to me, I just, you know, in watching it, I was just like, I was like, well, what the hell is Anderson doing? Like, and he took his sweet time walking to that dugout.
that was
I get the feeling that this was a calculated,
Me too.
calculated move on Anderson's part.
Oh, little mind games.
Yeah, because you know that what you're going to get with Kershaw, he's such a creature of habit. His timetable is like the stuff of legends.
Right.
They're constantly talking about
he
this
knows
all the
where
time.
he is. And
The guy is literally like clipping his toenails at 3:42 p.m. every time. Like he does things that are to the T, just like that. So yeah, I can imagine that this is something that they wanted to play a little joke on him, and
well, it worked, and for whatever reason, it worked. They had the opposite effect. When I say it worked, because the Dodgers, lo and behold, hit left-handed pitching.
well, right out of the gate, Kershaw had the start to that game was you could tell
Yeah,
he
he
was
gave
rattled
up-
a little
yeah.
bit, and then he came back and sort of settled in. So.
He says it had no bearing in the first inning.
Oh,
but
it did. We all saw that it did. Because the trouble is
Josh is like, you lie.
well, no, we've seen it in the playoffs. When Kershaw gets too jacked like that, he just tries to overthrow everything,
Yeah.
and guys tee off on him. So
That's right. That playoffs last year, when you see him like, when the camera pans on him before the games, you just see him like too tight.
He's like,
You're
rocking
shit.
in the dugout.
Oh shoot, this is
yeah, and that's when he just tries to power it by you. And while his fastball's good at 94, 95, it's still not really blowing anybody. It's not going to blow anybody away, especially if it has no movement.
right.
Yeah.
So he did. He came out and he struggled, but he settled in and he was fine.
Yeah, he's looking like an all-star now. So.
Yeah. So he'll be fine. And yeah, we actually
Maybe one day he'll be as good as Brandon McCarthy.
The good news is we actually did hit left-handed pitching this week.
We did.
Yeah.
It's just that we gave up a lot more runs than we scored.
And we hit left-handers. The runners left on base situation is
it's still not
an
improving,
issue.
yeah.
So
Do we need to go back to like basic fundamentals? Like the coaches are like, guys, run on second, hit the ball on the right side of the field.
I don't even.
Run on third, hit it hard, get it deep enough.
Well, I wonder. You got to wonder at this point because this has been through several batting coaches that this has
Yes.
been a problem now.
Yes.
So are we just not finding the right coach that's connecting with them, the right hitting coach, or are these guys just not listening?
I didn't think McGuire did that bad of a job for the season. He was the batting coach.
Yeah,
They
'cause-
got rid of him a year later.
Yeah, but Turner Ward were running into the same problems with runners in scoring position. That's
Right.
been their problem for a few years now. They don't, and the trouble is they don't even take good at bats. That is the frustrating part. It's not like it's an 8-pitch, 9-pitch at bat where maybe he grounds out or maybe strikes out after that. It's like a 4-pitch strikeout or a 1-pitch ground in a double play.
Yeah, I wish
one
it-
pitch pop up.
Yeah.
I wish they would take the Jock Peterson approach of like, all right, if I don't get a hit, because you can tell he's looking to really work that count, and like get the walk. Like a walk's a hit. So
Well, I mean,
he really
really,
subscribes
Walks
to
a
that
hit
play.
until the person behind him can't actually drive him in, and then it's just like.
Well, and I mean, Jock has he had the second highest OPS I think on the team, even though he's only hitting 220 because he still draws a lot of walks. And you like that. You want it. It's just, I mean, at some point they're going to render batting average one of these. Like RBIs is kind of being rendered.
Right.
By analytics as well. They have no control over it. Like wins for pitchers now don't matter anymore as far as analytics go. So when you pay a guy, it's not based on his wins.
Right.
Anymore.
Wins above replacement.
Yeah, wins above replacement, but not actual.
War.
Yeah, not actual wins. And I think batting average is going to start to. You'll see that when they analyze someone, that's going to start to be well, who cares if he hits 250 if his OPS is so
Right.
high? Does it really matter that he's only hitting 250? So
I want the guy whose batting average with runners in scoring position is like through the roof.
yeah.
When can we get that guy?
We have him, but the problem is he's only one guy doing it, Justin Turner. Actually, Adrian's
and just to argue that, Justin Turner came up in a big spot. I forget which game it was this week, but it was one where we were close late in the game and we had bases loaded. And I think it was one of the games where they were a few runs ahead of us at this point, and we could have gotten right back into it. And I think he hit a soft grounder to second base. And
it happens.
Well,
It's a game where you fail 70% of the time. You're considered great.
On the plus side, Chris Taylor's looked pretty good.
Yeah.
PK's looked good too. That was a big home run by Taylor the other day.
Kike looked great this week.
He did. I have to admit it. Kike looked good this week. He really did.
Words we never thought we'd say.
No, but Chris Taylor, who I wanted up on the team from the beginning, because he was crushing the ball in the spring and in AAA.
Don't forget that playoff home run.
Yeah,
last year's playoff home run.
But he plays a solid. He's solid in the field, and he right now he's hitting lefties. So and we got Logan Forsythe is on the DL. Jacques Peterson maybe going to the DL if you missed the game today, groin injury.
Right.
Maybe going to the DL. Gutierrez already on the DL.
Ethier DL.
Tolles might as well be on the DL. Just kidding. But we love you, Andrew. They've dropped him in the batting order now.
Second in DL too.
Second on the DL. We just we're running out of options here.
I thought it was interesting to see that Jock at the top of the lineup for the past two games. They really,
but they scored runs that way.
They are scoring.
So
I thought that was kind of. I was like, all right, okay.
They both. Granted they lost Saturday, but they scored 5 runs on 5 runs on Saturday. I think something like that.
Yeah.
But they were scoring. So it's last year
11-5 loss.
Yeah, last year when. I think it was it was rookie season when they brought Jacques up, and then they right away when he was hitting, they moved him into the leadoff, and then they left him there way too long when he was struggling, And now I think now that he's been around a little bit, he's maybe he's a little more comfortable now in the leadoff spot,
right?
Especially now, like you said, he's looking to take pitches. And I remember the old Wade Boggs when he went to the Yankees, everyone thought they were crazy for batting him leadoff. Well, when the guy sees 10 pitches per at bat, he's dragging out pitch counts and he's drawing walks. All of a sudden, you had no speed, but your leadoff man was getting on base and frustrating the pitcher. Yep. And I think that's hopefully what the Dodgers. I'm hoping Jacques can kind of fill a similar void, for the Dodgers, because leadoff has been a problem for them also for many years now. Ever since D. Gordon's been gone, leadoff has been an issue. So, leadoff with the runners in scoring position. I don't know how. Do they just choke? Like, is it in their head?
I think
is that what's going on?
I think they're not. I think they're just not being patient. Like you look at these at bats, like you guys said in life, they're 4-pitch at bats.
Yeah,
they're 5 or they're 1-pitch at bats.
They're going up their salary.
They're not.
They're
See
the guys on base. And they're like,
they're
this
not
is
getting
what I'm
out there.
gonna
And I would hate to tell a major league hitter what they're not doing as a hitter. They're there, not me. But I like to see if I would give anything, I like to see a little more patience, a little more wait and see approach.
Me too. I would just like to see guys take a few, make them throw you a good pitch. That you can hit. And if you don't hit it, well, then you don't hit it, but just at least wait for it. Try to get that one good pitch.
Right.
Just to see. The good teams do it. That's why they win. You look at the Nationals right now. They're even the Diamondbacks, the Rockies. They're, they got hitters. Those guys are up there and they're getting the job done. The Dodgers hitters are just not getting it done.
No, they're not.
And it's so streaky because I think you said it. It's always in one inning.
Yeah,
where they do all this damage.
It's not spread throughout.
Yeah. I think the only game this year where we saw them doing damage throughout the entire game was the first game of the season.
Yeah, opening day. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to peak at opening day. Not a good look.
Well, speaking of batters who probably peaked earlier on in the season, nice segue into Yasiel.
Yasiel Puig.
Deep sighs from the panel.
We touched upon it a little bit earlier. Again, I'm actually not too worried about him. This is he's such a hot and cold player, and this is 5th year in the majors. This is classic Yasiel Puig right here.
I need him to be hot, not cold. Hot. At least be lukewarm for more of the season.
Lukewarm would be preferred if you're not going to be on fire, but for him, and that's the scary part. Any game, any series, and he can just be back.
Yeah,
he can just turn it on.
Yeah.
Well, the trouble is when Puig struggles, he presses quickly.
Yeah.
And then he starts, for a while he wasn't swinging at that outside pitch. Then he'll start swinging at it again.
He loves that low and outside.
But for a week when he was hot, he laid off that pitch. So he's just, to me, it's all mental at this point with him. It really is. It's
We talk a lot about Ryan Braun and Puig or Puig and so what, or Puig and sent to AAA.
Giancarlo.
Or Mike Stanton.
you do have a love affair for Mike Stanton.
I love Mike
Stanton.
Stanton. Oh yeah, I played against him in high school. No big deal. He was good. He was really good.
Speaking of Mike Stanton or Giancarlo, Aaron Judge looks like little Giancarlo Stanton. Not to get over to the Yankees, but wow.
Got a little mini me over here.
Have you seen that guy?
Yeah.
He has a house.
So Dodgers have new beginnings, as we know. They have great Vince Scully retired last year, and those are always going to be big shoes to fill. And the Dodgers have a new broadcasting team. They kind of tried them out early last year to see kind of how they're doing. That's Joe Davis and Oral Hershiser, but they've now officially taken over the reins for most TV games. And we're now 19 games in the season, and after watching a lot of these games, like Josh, I know you and I have had some discussions about this, but
now, are you guys on the same team with this?
Let me ask you. Let's find out. Let me ask you guys. How would you grade this broadcasting team right now?
What are we comparing?
Scale of one.
You can't compare it to Scully. That's not
No,
fair.
no, we'll never compare it.
It was like when who was the guy that replaced Chick Hearn? I totally forgot his name, but that guy.
They've had a few guys.
but that guy, those
Joel. Somebody.
but you're unfairly compared to, and you can't follow in those footsteps.
No, you never want to be the person following the legend.
Exactly.
You want to be the person after.
But I don't mind. What's it, Davis?
I'm a big Joe Davis fan here. Joe Davis, you're doing a good job.
I honestly don't mind Davis. I
Big
really
shoes
don't.
to fill. The guy's delivery is really good, and he you can tell he takes the time to research the stories.
He gets excited.
There's hints of 1950s Vince Scully in the way he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement that the
Storytelling
problem
is pretty good.
The problem it seems to be with Oral Hershiser, and you will not find a bigger fan of Oral Hershiser than me.
No,
Dodger
than me.
fan.
No, than me.
I have a love affair with this man. I love this guy.
I can never knock him because one, he does a lot of charity work for the 65 Roses, the Cystic
That's
Fibrosis
good.
Foundation. So from the beginning, since I have it, he was my favorite player. However, in the broadcast booth, he's a little too technical.
Here's the thing.
And it's off-putting as
As a viewer.
Yes.
As a viewer.
Technical how? Just curious.
He goes in there and he tells you, well, the guy's coming in, he holds the ball like this, and he's pitching it like you have to throw it like this.
love that
I
part.
love the nuance.
That's actually the one
parts of it.
When he's talking about pitching, I love it. I eat it up, and I'm excited to hear it. It's everything else. It's all the rest. When he's trying to fill it in, it's just like
He's just kind of
that's color.
kind of boring.
He's bland. They're bland together.
Okay,
He's the Phil Sims of baseball. announcers.
what is your other option? Do you want someone
Charlie
to
Steiner.
No, okay. No, I like them on radio, and I like them calling the games anyways. But like, do you want someone like a Hawk Harrelson who's just gonna go in there and be a total homer for the Dodgers? At times, I would love that, but like, you need someone that's going to keep it real.
The old,
you know
who they remind me of? The old Braves announcers on TNT of like.
Don Sutton was one of them. I remember.
Oh god,
He was. He was one of. Yeah.
They had a. I forget some of their names right now. If anyone out there wants to find out, let us know.
But you're right. It was Don Sutton, right?
Yeah.
Don Sutton
But
was
I
one of
always
those guys.
remember because Braves, they're always one of these nationally televised teams like that I would watch besides the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And God, that team was boring.
Yeah.
And this is like what this broadcasting team was boring because a great Braves team.
Yeah.
And that's what this team sounds like, and it's so different. Again, you don't want to compare.
I think you're giving them a bad rap. I agree to disagree.
That's
we're
fine.
We're not dealing with the Eric Collins, Steve Lyons situation right now. Okay, these guys are a little bit better.
What
than
about
that.
Eric Karros
Like him
in that second chair?
Like
Is
Eric
he?
Karros.
He might. I feel like the reason that he's not in the broadcast chair at this point is because he has some sort of national contract with Fox Sports to do those types of games because he's
I like
always
him.
in the Saturday games.
Yeah.
He's in the playoff broadcast.
Yeah, he's great. Who actually does the best game-by-play analysis? Jerry Harrison Jr. Love that guy.
Are you serious right now?
Oh no,
No,
he
you're-
does. He
you're-
does. He's great.
You're-
I'm serious. We said
you're
it. We
completely-
said it.
Wow.
What don't you like about Jerry? Great suits too, by the
It's
way.
not that I don't like Jerry, but I think he fits. And Jerry, if you're out there listening, you probably are. If you're out there listening,
Big fan, Jerry.
This is not a knock on his expertise at calling or being a
He doesn't
play-by-play
call games. He's
broadcaster.
just the post-game analysis.
He's good at what he does.
Yeah, post-game analysis. He's great at it.
Not post-game analysis.
Yeah, he does the post-game.
Post-game,
Yeah,
pregame.
he does the post-game.
He's like the
does the
organization jester. He's out there cracking jokes, swinging his bat, doing his little bat
yeah,
flips.
he does the recap. He's like,
He's doing all these bat flips that no one's actually watching because they don't have the Dodger network.
I'm watching. I'm out there. That's right. No one sees it.
Yeah, but yeah, he's okay. He's okay. Let's put it that way.
I like Jerry, but maybe that's probably because he's not in the broadcast.
But I will say this: let's just give Oral and Joe Davis. We're gonna give him a season at least to go in there. It's gonna take some time to develop the proper rhythm. It's just give him some time.
I think it's already been developed. Personally, I think they're pretty good.
If you guys are Oral, Joe, you got a big fan of Cam. Keep doing you guys.
My boys.
Well, you want to Well, let's see. We got the 4 games against the Giants this coming
So
week.
Ryu's on the hill coming up tomorrow.
0-3 so far this year.
0-3 on the year. Still looking for his first win. Expectations? A win would be nice. Besides a win.
I think the big thing to keep track of, we have, what is it, 7 of our next 10 games are against the San Francisco Giants.
Good. Good.
Well, okay. Normally,
And then the Padres come in, and then we're at the Padres following the Giants next week.
I think it's San Fran, 3 against the Phillies, 3 against San Fran,
And then 3 against the Padres. So
that's a very favorable one.
We I think we're looking at San Francisco as we're gonna beat up on them because they're in last place, but it's not as though
they
it's
don't have
the
pitching.
Padres.
Well, I think I look forward to San Francisco because they're exposed as
Yeah.
a team, and they are an old team. And not to really knock on them, but that's just the truth.
well, and they have no left fielder.
Crazy how they're old all of a sudden,
Yeah.
and they were like super young.
And it's funny because
Well, you think about Posey's still young, Bumgarner's still young,
Yeah.
just everyone
Well,
else.
the trouble is their farm system's been depleted, so
Right.
they have no left fielder right now. Their center field position's kind of up in the air as well.
Is that Pagan out there?
No, it's Spawn. Pagan's gone.
Where's Pagan?
I forget where he is, but he's not in the Giants anymore.
He was in the World Baseball Classic. wasn't
Yeah.
he?
But so you had that kid who broke his collar playing left field. So now I don't even know who. I think they got some Double-A guy playing left field now. You got Denard Spawn, who is whatever at this point,
Right.
playing center. And you got Penson right.
I feel like the Giants, we should never undersell what it means when they play the Dodgers because there's been
bring
times
it.
where they've been amazing and we've been playing terrible and we sweep them.
This is actually one of the.
you know what I mean? Like,
You know how the players say like, "Oh, the rivalries are for the fans," or whatever. The Dodgers don't really like the Giants.
Yeah, they
this
don't-
team
no.
does not like the Giants, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So like, this is a real rivalry. It's obviously one of the most storied rivalries in sports.
I think, and let's also point out, if you're looking at these next 10 games, right, we come back next week, we'll be talking about what has gone on. The Phillies are, you could look at this and be like, well, Giants in last place, Phillies have been horrible the last few years. Phillies actually have a better record than the Dodgers right now, and Giants are the Giants. We could conceivably.
The Reds have a better record than the Dodgers right now.
I'm just saying. I mean, the Reds have a great record right now, if I'm not mistaken. So, we could conceivably lose all of these games.
well, Kershaw's going for 1, so
Yeah, we gotta win there.
True.
Let's
Actually,
not
it's the Giants,
put that out there.
I'm here to be the pessimist.
We are
Actually,
capable of winning.
next week we'll get 2 Kershaw starts and a McCarthy start. So hopefully that means at least 3 wins.
Well, like I said, I feel like we've shaken the genie in the bottle for Brandon McCarthy, and we've already used all of his magical powers. It's probably
What would you be happy with for like a double digit, like a 10-win season? Like, what's a good sub 4 ERA?
If he has 3 wins already,
I think it's safe to say he's not going to say 2.2 ERA.
Brandon McCarthy, it's kind of hard with all the contracts being inflated anyway now, but I would like to see him win 10 to 12 games and have a sub 4 ERA for sure.
I think we all would, yes.
But who knows if that's going to happen? I mean, we're looking at the next week. Let's see.
If we could just keep him healthy. My big thing is just keeping him healthy.
Well, that's the thing. But I'm worried that if he is healthy and he's good, like Brett Anderson was a couple years ago, for the majority of the season, was really good for the Dodgers.
Very sustainable.
But then broke down badly.
And the playoffs.
But at the last 2 weeks of that season and the playoffs when the Mets lit him up.
Oh, yeah.
Because he hadn't pitched that much in 5 years. So we would be in the same situation with McCarthy. McCarthy stays healthy all year, looks good, and then all of a sudden, if he starts breaking down in the last 2 weeks, you can't put him on the playoff roster.
Right.
You're going to have to leave him off, at least for the first round. maybe if he rests, he could pitch if you get to the second round. But you don't want that same situation either. So I think McCarthy might have to be on an innings limit a little bit.
Yeah.
Although isn't he the last year of his contract? Do they really care at this point?
It was 3, so was last year his first year?
No,
No,
before.
I think it's his last year. Yeah, him and
Wow,
it's
what
like,
a contract.
Right.
It's like Ryu. I mean, I think Ryu's contract's up
Yeah,
after
I
this
think-
year,
yeah,
so
I
it's
think
like really, we'll just keep throwing him out there.
This is a very telling year for Ryu. If the Dodgers are going to,
if they bring him, or if anyone will bring him
if
back.
anybody will bring him back. So
Well, I mean, look, by the time we talk about this next week, we'll have 2 starts by Kershaw, possibly a start by Julio,
Yeah.
right? And then
I like how we're trying to put together wins here.
well, we totally are. And then a McCarthy start.
We're trying to construct wins.
There's gonna be 2 Ryu starts in there too. So I mean, we'll see what happens. But yeah,
Well, I mean, you got.
it was all good just a week ago.
Exactly. All these guys on the DL. To me, Dayton on the DLs really hurts because to me he's
He's
better.
such a dependable arm.
Yeah, and he's better. And he's better than
plan.
Avalon. I think Avalon got rocked the other day too, didn't he? In that.
I sort of we should just forget about that game.
Yeah, I mean the bullpen. Yeah, we'll let it go.
let's because they all sucked. It's just a one big collective
Well, my issue
effort.
is this is who Shuji Romo is because he did it last year for the Giants and he did it the year before for the Giants, where he'd come in and look good for a few, 3 appearances, 1 inning.
You've seen him start to break down
Yeah.
the last 2
They have
years.
this love affair with old Giants pitching.
Always
And
have.
This, to me, this is like a Brian Wilson situation. Once again, we bring in that guy who used to kill us, and then he's just dog shit.
Well, it's not even
for
that.
us.
Remember they brought in Chris Perez a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Who,
Yeah.
just he was 2 years removed
reliever.
from
Chris
being
Perez.
really good. But they,
Speaking of 420,
but they have a habit of bringing in former closers who, yes, were good at one time. But there's a reason that those teams let them go and they're not closers anymore. And the Dodgers are always hoping they have a cheap. They're basically hoping for a cheap option. That's what
Yeah.
they're doing. Because bullpens are so volatile anyway.
Totally.
One year they're good, 1 year they're bad.
one week they're good,
Yeah,
one week they're bad.
So that's when they bring in guys like Romo. That's what they're doing. It's fishing.
Yeah.
They're
Let's
fishing.
not forget though, the Dodgers bullpen had been through 19 games so lights out that
Oh, yeah.
this was to be expected and will be to be expected throughout the year. Romo, let me tell you guys,
doing it in
gonna
Colorado.
Romo's going to come back. I have been on the Colorado bandwagon since last year.
I said this year. I said Colorado's the team we have to watch out for in the NL West. They're good.
they're a young, good team. And Iannetta and all those guys could just do it. But the Diamondbacks, we were talking about their pitching and how they've done a turnaround, but they're hitting. AJ Pollock is a stud. That dude is just a machine.
What about
on center.
Lamb? What about that guy?
Tyler Lamb's. They're all raking.
I mean,
But I think
they just need they could if they bring in Maeda to throw batting practice to them, then they'll be lights out. I mean, it'll just be over.
My
They'll
issue
be
with
fantastic.
my issue with the Diamondbacks is I think their starting pitching will break down. The Rockies guys are young enough where it's more of a wild card. You don't know if it's going to break down.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the young guys, like we saw with the Cubs and stuff, sometimes if they get rolling,
They're out.
it's
They just
hard to
go.
stop them. So the Diamond, Shelby Miller is going to be Shelby Miller. He.
Glad he's not a Dodger.
Yeah, and what did he get tagged for 4 runs today or something like that before they finally pulled him? 3
No,
runs?
he was he threw 4 shutout innings.
No, I thought.
Or then he got.
he left guys on base and the other guy came in and gave up runs.
Excuse me, yes.
And he
had 4 shutout innings.
Yes, and he got tagged for those 3 of those runs. But it's Greinke doesn't look like himself, and Arizona's a
34 now.
Bring him back. Let's see what he's got.
You know they will.
So I actually think
it.
to me the Diamondbacks are the one who probably will break down towards, and their bullpen's still not very good. Whereas the Rockies have Holland back there now. They have a decent,
Yeah, you forget that. You forget that.
They have a decent closer now, so
crazy.
they might have a shot.
And they can hit.
But don't forget, it was the Rockies. Actually, their starting pitching was decent last year. It was their bullpen that kept blowing games for them. So if their bullpen with Bud Black brings it together,
I just think Nolan Arenado is such a good centerpiece to a lineup because that guy just does it all.
Yeah,
he's so good.
He's
God,
so good.
I wish we could get. I mean, I love Justin Turner, but if there was any way we could get him on the Dodgers, I would do it.
Already. Justin Turner's glove work
Oh, no,
is
I've
nothing not too shabby, by the way.
No, but I've loved Arenado since he got called up. I'm like, this guy is a stud. Trevor Story, I was never sold on.
He's young.
Yeah, but he's no Seager. I was never sold on him. But you got Blackman, you got Mathieu, you got Cargo. It's oh my god.
Rockies management is sneaky good. Really kind of putting these young pieces together under the radar.
They did a complete overhaul 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, and they drafted. Didn't they draft nothing but pitching recently too? I believe they've. They went after a lot of pitchers.
That's a gamble, but I mean, that's what they need now. But
Yeah.
when you're drafting for 3 or 4 years later, for the future. That's you're not drafting for today.
So it's and they got the pitching staff is so young, and look they have tons of injuries to their starters and they're still winning games.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how the Dodgers bounce back, but I think they're going to be fine for the NL West. I mean,
I'm not freaking
they actually
out.
have a favorable the next month is they play the Giants a lot, and when teams face each other a lot, like
it's San Fran, Philadelphia, San Diego, Pittsburgh, who's not been looking too good. We only started dealing with Colorado again May 11th. So there's still
hopefully come out with a winning record here, right? I mean, and look, what's nice right now is aside from the Reds, the NL Central's not playing that great this year. The Cubs are okay right now. Pirates are.
But they can
okay.
they're an any moment team. They
No,
can score.
I'm still predicting that their hangover is just going to be too
I think they make the playoffs.
massive. I'm
Don't
not.
miss?
I
I mean,
don't
there's a
know.
history of teams missing the playoffs
There is.
after making the World Series. I mean, that's definitely something to be aware
It just
of.
depends. Like right now, I think the NL is Washington's. I think right now, if you had to look at it, the NL is Washington's to lose. Right at this point.
I watched that Sunday Night Baseball before we got here. Oh god, that team was so good.
I mean, Bryce Harper
Washington is
and Daniel Murphy are. And we could have had Daniel
Scherzer.
Murphy. Frustrates me.
Stop it. Stop it. You couldn't have known Daniel Murphy was going to be the guy that he is right now.
What do you
The
mean? He
guy-
had a great season last year.
No,
He had a great season.
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Though,
No, he crushed us with that
in the playoffs.
In the
but,
playoffs. But he's on a 3-year, $39 million deal.
Yeah.
And we brought in Chase Utley. Come on.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how
I
the.
love Utley. We'll keep him here forever.
Before-
He's be the manager after Dave Roberts leaves.
Before we wrap up, guys, any expectations for this week? Anything you want to see from the Dodgers?
Just good starting pitching for a change. aside from Kershaw.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd really love to see Ryu have a nice game.
Okay.
Mixed in there.
I can see him get a win.
I'm rooting for Ryu. I really would. I agree. I'm rooting for him. I want to see him have a good game.
And
We're rooting for Ryu.
I
Just make a sign.
want to see Puig be the guy that you guys swear he is, because I'm not.
Oh no, I've been off the Puig bandwagon
I'm
for
not
a
the only
while.
one
I'll
on
tell you.
it. Well, that's it for Dodgers Wrap 360. I'm Hunter Marks, Cameron Cohen, and Joshua Gershon. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week. Tune in. See you next week. Thanks, guys.
Good night.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.